many of you are Republican? How many of you have Republican friends? How many of you have Republican friends that are scared to tell their friends that they're Republican? Right? Look, this is the problem. We all know that we believe in common sense. We all know that the California Democrats that have run our state into the ground, 39 of the last 40 years, the Democrats have had control of the legislature, right? Now it's a supermajority that was only recently broken because 2 of their members had to leave because of sexual harassment allegations, right? But 39 of the last 40 years, our legislature has been controlled by the Democrats. If you don't like paying among the nation's highest taxes, if you don't like these felony-friendly, soft-on-crime laws, if you don't like these crazy regulations and all of the crazy laws that Sacramento's been passing, there is one reason, and one reason alone. It's because one political party has controlled Sacramento for almost the entirety of the last 4 decades. And oh, by the way, let's not leave out our good friend Jerry Brown. Jerry Brown and his dad have controlled that governor's mansion for 24 of almost the last 50 years. I think it's about time we change that. I think it's about time we have some balance in California. Now, here's the problem. The problem is Republicans have lost in this state for 2 decades straight. Now, I know we got a governor in, right? You remember the actor, right? Anybody remember his name? Now, he was a great Republican for about a year and a half, right? But then what happened? He did his ballot initiatives. Very good, right? The problem was they beat him. The other side mortgaged their buildings to fight him and beat him at the ballot box. And unfortunately, what we learned is that Arnold, the governor, was a lot different than Arnold, the actor. You see, because Arnold, the actor, would have said, "I'll be back," right? But Arnold, the governor, never came back. He went home, and there was a Democrat waiting for him at home. He went to the office, and his chief of staff was a Democrat. I just recently heard he appointed more Democrats than Republicans in his administration. Now, I have not verified that, but I wouldn't be surprised. The bottom line is once he got beat at the ballot box, we never heard from Schwarzenegger again. Because what happened is Willie Brown gave him a call and said, "Arnold, let me show you how it's done. Why don't you come out and have lunch with me at the Peninsula Hotel in San Francisco?" And you better believe every couple weeks thereafter, Arnold and Willie Brown sat down and talked, and they started making deals. And we all know what happens when your politicians in Sacramento spend all of their time and all of their life as career politicians and start making deals with the Democrats. Who gets the short end of the stick? All of us and every single Californian. And this is the problem. And I say, we have had enough. What do you say? I am just a Californian like y'all. Raise your hand if you were born here in the state of California. Raise your hand if you came here at some point in your life and you're now a resident of California. Raise your hand if you ever thought about leaving California. Look, this is the problem. By the way, I was born here. I was raised here. Born in San Diego, raised 5 minutes from the border in Chula Vista, tiny little town. I've spent my entire life here. For the last 2 decades plus, I've lived in Huntington Beach, California. It's Surf City, USA. I'm in the Guinness Book of World Records for riding the biggest surfboard with the most number of people on it. And I absolutely love this town. This is where I live. This is where I work. I own an investment company. I'm a certified financial planner. Opened my business in 2001. Been managing money since 1996. I still run my company every single day because I don't think that your legislators should be full-time. I believe in a part-time legislature. And this is for 2 very simple reasons. Number one, these guys constantly have to justify their existence and their massive paychecks. $100,000 a year plus about $40,000 tax-free. And so if they're going to get all this money, and for many of these guys, it's the most money they've ever made in their life, they have to write more and more laws. The laws in California are out of control. And then the real problem comes that these people never have to live in the real world. They don't have to sign the front of the paycheck, just the back of it. They don't have to understand the impact of the laws that they are passing. I think it's about time that your politicians live in the real world and are forced to have real jobs and live under the same taxes and the same laws that they want the rest of us to live under. What do you say to that? You know, if it works for Texas and it works for Florida, it can work for California. Let's let these guys work 3 months out of the year in the legislature. Pay them their normal salary. That's fine by me. But the other 9 months out of the year, let's force them to go back to their districts, to truly represent their people, to work a real job, and understand what it's like to live in California with the nation's highest poverty rate, with the nation's highest unsheltered homeless population, and people and jobs leaving for other states due to the laws that the Sacramento and California Democrats are passing. What do you say? Yes. Now, I told you I grew up in San Diego, but I've lived in Huntington Beach for the last about 2 decades or so. But as I've lived there and had just a fantastic time, I have watched as my parents left the state. My brother left the state. My best friend now lives in Texas, where he doubled the size of his house, doubled the size of his company, and he now pays no state income tax. Raise your hand if you know anybody who's left the state of California. Raise your hand if you think it's about time they come back, right? This is why I'm running to be your governor of the state of California. 22 states. My clients started out in California. They are now in 22 states around the nation because our taxes are too high, our laws are too crazy, our regulations are too dense. Their jobs left, their families left, their companies left. I am running to be your next governor of the state of California to lower our taxes, to fix our out-of-control crime situation by repealing Prop 57, Prop 47, and AB 109, because it's about time we live in safe communities again. I'm running to be your governor to fix our roads and expand our freeways. We drive on the second worst roads in the nation, in the worst traffic in the nation. Jerry Brown just passed this gas tax. Not a one of you got a chance to vote on it. Remember, he broke his campaign promise of no new taxes without voter approval. And remember, less than 35% of that money will ever find its way to roads. You better believe a decent shot of that money is going to end up at the high-speed rail. And not one penny will ever go towards building any new free freeway lanes anywhere in the state. It can only go to toll roads, mass transit, bike lanes, and the rest. It's about time we fix our roads and expand our freeways, and we don't raise your taxes to do it. How does that sound? And that's not far-fetched. Republicans came out with a proposal 2 years ago, $7 billion we shaved off the California budget without raising a single dime in taxes. That money would have gone directly into roads to expand our freeways, to fix our roads. Very simple to do. California now receives more taxpayer revenue, more taxes, more of your money than it ever has at any time in the state's history. Don't tell me Sacramento's not got enough money to take care of our state's crumbling infrastructure. It's about time we spend our money where it belongs. We need to have accountability. We need to rebuild California, and we got plenty of money to do it, so let's get busy. Yeah. Now, what about our education system? We used to have the best education system in the nation. Raise your hand if you went to California public schools. I did too. Our schools now are failing our children. We're constantly rated in the bottom quarter of the nation, 10% of the nation. Our kids are 46th and 47th in reading and math. Bad teachers cannot get fired because they're protected by their special interest union that spends hundreds of millions of dollars to elect Democrats. 99% of the money spent by the California Teachers Association goes to elect Democrats. It doesn't matter that there's a lot of Republican teachers out there. It doesn't matter that there's a ton of teachers that don't want their money to go support more of Jerry Brown and Kevin De Leon and Gavin Newsom and Antonio Villaraigosa. That's where their money is going, and I think it's about time we change that. I think it's about time our education has one goal and one goal alone, and that is the education of our children. What do you say? You may have heard I just got married last year. Never been married. Thanks very much. Never been married for, my mom was really, she was calling me all the time, I think after a while she actually just gave up, but I was waiting to find the absolute perfect girl, and I did. I found just an incredible, incredible woman, married my wife in 2016. I have my date right here. There you go. Don't tell her that I missed that date. It's September 17th, though. I can't forget the date, that's for sure. So yeah, you better believe she's a Republican. So we got married in September of 2016, and when we got married, I'm a pretty good negotiator. I got an 8-year-old daughter in the deal. And my 8-year-old daughter goes to California public school. We just had another baby 2 months ago, baby Caroline. And you better believe that I want both of my kids going to California public schools, and I want them to be the best public schools in the nation, and that is not too much to ask. Do you agree? One word, accountability. We must have the ability to fire bad teachers and clean up bad schools, and our parents must have the ability and the choice to send their kids to the very best schools in their areas, in the state, in the nation. And lastly, water. I know we have plenty of water in this area. I know there's not even water metering in lots of parts of San Francisco. But the bottom line is that California goes through these perennial droughts, right? Every decade there's a new drought. Who here from 2014 to 2017 turned off your tap when you were brushing your teeth? Right? I know. Come on, we all did. We all did. Remember, Jerry Brown said, turn off the water when you're brushing your teeth. Don't wash your car. Kill your front lawn. I hope to God you flushed your toilet. But if you see your neighbor on a Sunday afternoon washing his car, you call the water company and you get him a fine because he's wasting water. Remember this? Yeah. Right? Every single drop of water that we saved from 2014 to 2017, every single drop that all of us saved across the state of California, the most water-conscious state in the nation, once those rains came and burst Oroville Dam, 188,000 Californians had to be evacuated. And every single drop of water that we saved for those last 3 years washed out under the Golden Gate Bridge. Not one time over 10 times over. Jerry Brown played all of you and every single Californian for a fool because he never built any water storage. We passed a $7 billion water bond that I voted for. Not one penny went to build any new water storage anywhere in the state of California, and he didn't even fix the aging infrastructure of our dams. So when it finally rained, the rain washed right through, burst our dams, Californians were evacuated, and every single drop of water that we saved got wasted. I say it's time we change that. I say it's time we complete the State Water Project. We don't have to steal Northern California's water. We don't have to drain the Delta. We don't got to build these Delta tunnels. What we need to do is build water storage up and down the state of California, above ground, below ground. We have more water in California than we can use in this generation and in the next generations to come. We have to build and complete the State Water Project because I don't know about you, but I like to take a nice long shower. What do you say? Yeah. This ties into the mentality of Jerry Brown and the California Democrats. You see, they prey on Californians. Their mantra is scarcity. There's never enough. You always got to give them more. If only you save even more water. If only you drive even less. If only you live in a smaller house. If only you pay them more taxes. If you send them just a little bit more money, they're going to fix all of the problems in the world. Remember, 2 Democrats, Kevin McCarty out of Sacramento and Phil Ting out of San Francisco, just proposed a bill. You know, you might remember we got a president here. His name's Donald J. Trump. Raise your hand if you voted for him. Who voted for Trump? Let me tell you, there is only one major candidate in the race. The Republican frontrunner. There is only one major candidate in this race that voted for, supported, and wrote op-eds in favor of the Republican nominee for president, Donald J. Trump. Who do you think that was? I can't hear. Who do you think supported the Republican nominee? Who here supported the President of the United States? You know, I don't know about you, but I'm a lifelong Republican. I don't think it's that much to ask that your candidate, your next governor of the state of California, actually stands up and is counted and supports the Republican nominee for president. Is that too much to ask? No. Look, Neil Kashkari didn't do it. Oh, he didn't get elected, did he? Meg Whitman didn't do it. Meg Whitman just supported crooked Hillary in the presidential race. Have we had enough of Meg? Have we had enough of Republicans that say one thing and do another? Is it about time for someone to lead California and to take our state back and to fix our state up and down the state and make this once again the greatest state in the nation? You know, a lot of people ask me, say, Travis, I know you're running for governor, but it's such a long shot. How can you win? Well, I say, look, we've had terrible candidates for 20 years. Terrible candidates. We have had candidates that wouldn't even support the Republican Party, and we went out to Californians and asked them to support them. How do you vote for Neil Kashkari when he votes for Barack Hussein Obama? How do you support Meg Whitman when she supports crooked Hillary? How do you support John Cox when he votes for Gary Johnson? One of my Republican challengers, his name's John Cox. He's a nice enough guy. He's from Chicago. He became a California resident in 2011. He supported, not Donald Trump president, he supported Gary Johnson. Gary Johnson, let me just tell you what Gary Johnson stands for. Open borders, legalized drugs, legalized prostitution, and the list goes on and on. This guy's got a vote record. That's the only vote we know about. He has failed in public office 3 separate times, run for 3 separate offices, lost every single time. And he's going to tell you he's not a political insider. This guy was a county party chairman in Illinois, ran for president of the United States, Senate, and county clerk recorder, lost every single time. And this new guy in the race, Doug Ose, 3-time loser as well. Ran for Senate, ducked out of that race. Ran for Congress against a Republican, a true conservative, Tom McClintock. Lost that race. Ran against a Democrat, Ami Bera. Lost that race. Do you think we need a couple of 3-time losers trying to run against Gavin Newsom to become the next governor of the state of California? No. Or do we need somebody who has never lost a race in their entire life to become the next governor of the state of California? Look, I'll tell you, I don't think it's rocket science, right? We need winners. We need somebody that's actually going to win. I'm just telling you. By the way, Doug Ose's a head fake. This guy's in and out of the race. There's been a couple other Republicans that were in and out of the race, but this guy's leaving real quick. I will tell you that right now. Just watch and wait. So you take a look. I was talking about how Sacramento and California Democrats prey on Californians, right? Because if their policies work so well, then if they've run the legislature and passed all the laws for 39 of the last 40 years, we would be the most prosperous state in the nation, right? We wouldn't have the nation's worst poverty rate. We wouldn't have 1 in 5 Californians living below the poverty line. We wouldn't have an out-of-control, unsheltered homeless population, the absolute worst in the nation, that isn't getting any better. It grew by 13.7% last year alone. People are dying on the streets of San Diego due to hepatitis. They have maps of the human waste in San Francisco. By the way, I'll tell you, I was in San Francisco about 4 weeks ago now. It was about 10 o'clock at night, and I was walking out of a parking garage to go to the hotel that I was staying in. As I walked up to the street level from the parking garage, I came through a staircase, and something smelled really bad in that staircase. As I'm walking, I look down, and on the middle step, what do I see? Human waste in San Francisco. It's true, it's real, it's disgusting. This is the city of Gavin Newsom. Do we want California looking like San Francisco? No. So why would we elect Gavin Newsom to be the next governor of the state of California? Never going to happen. It's about time we clean up our state. So we're talking about scarcity. Because remember, the Democrats want to solve all your problems. Just send them some more money. You know, 39 the last 40 years wasn't enough. Just give them another 8, and they're going to fix whatever they couldn't fix in the last 39. By the way, if Democrat policies worked so well, Remember, I'm an economist by trade. I'm a certified financial planner. I believe in simple economics. There's incentives and disincentives. If you want more of something, you incentivize it. If you want less of it, you disincentivize it, right? It's like a kid. A kid does something wrong, you punish him. If a kid does something good, you give him something good. And things generally go pretty well in aggregate on the whole. So if these Democrat policies actually worked, we'd have all of these examples across the country of how well they worked. Well, let's take a look. How about Detroit? Detroit was once the 4th largest city in the United States, right? Extremely prosperous. Everything was going great in Detroit. Beautiful city. All the automakers were there. Everything was great. And they had 6 decades of uninterrupted Democrat control. So this should be a paradise, right? I mean, this really should be like a utopia. Everything that Jerry Brown wants, everything that Gavin Newsom wants, it should all be right there in Detroit. And you better believe it is. Detroit is a sinking black hole where you can buy a home for $1, out of control crime, and no one's left in the city. And why? Because of 6 decades of failed Democrat left policies. Is this what we want for California? No. Is this our chance to take it and turn it back around? Yes. One race, my friends, one race changes everything. Forget about all these down ticket races. There is one race that changes absolutely everything with one vote. The governor of the state of California can turn the state around. And I'll tell you right now, the governor of California in 2018 will change us around. I will be your next governor in 2018. We are about to take back our state. This room is where it starts. I need your support. Are you with me? Yeah. 6 decades of Democrat control. You get Detroit. We've had 4 decades of Democrat control. You get California. Jerry Brown and the California Democrats, send us more money, we'll fix all your problems. Give us another 8 years, we'll fix everything we couldn't fix with 24 years of Jerry Brown, right? And remember, Jerry Brown was the responsible adult in the room, right? He was the fiscal moderate. If you look at all the papers, they'll tell you that. Problem is, they're lying. When Jerry Brown came into office, the general fund was $86 billion. Today, it's over $131 billion. An increase of $45 billion, over 50% more taxes out of your pocket into Jerry Brown's. What do we have to show for this? Do we got a bullet train to nowhere? Yes. Never built. 77% over budget, never built. Do we got these Delta tunnels that nobody wants? Never built. Jerry Brown has no legacy in the state of California. His legacy is a legacy of failure. So people ask, where does all the money go? Well, when Caltrans has a budget of almost $13 billion and they have 3,500 extra employees, according to the Legislative Analyst's Office, that cost California taxpayers over $500 million a year, when the average public sector worker makes more than 50% more than the average private sector worker in the state of California, you begin to get an idea of exactly where your money's been going. Is it time we change that? Yes. Are we going to change it with more taxes to Jerry Brown and the California Democrats? No. Are we going to change it with another 8 years of Gavin Newsom and the California Democrats? No. Kevin McCarty, Democrat out of Sacramento, and Phil Ting, Democrat out of San Francisco, just proposed a new law. What they want to do is they want to take Trump's tax cuts. And by the way, Trump's tax cuts, I know we lose out on the state income tax deduction because California's taxes are sky high, right? I know all about that. They want to take half of those savings. And those savings, by the way, have given us the best economy nationwide that we've seen in decades. $8 trillion of wealth created. Unemployment the lowest it's been since 2000. Jobless claims the lowest since 1973, the year that I was born, right? Think about this. They want to take half of those tax cut savings from every single business in California, and they want to confiscate them and send them to Sacramento to spend them on social programs. I don't know about you, but studying economics, that sure sounds like communism and socialism to me, and it doesn't sound like California. Look, this is what's at stake. We have to stop them now. They lie. They cheat. They steal. They are stealing your money. When Jerry Brown got elected in 2010, it was with a simple campaign promise. No new taxes without voter approval. What did he do just last year? The gas tax. he had to bribe 4 legislators $1 billion of your tax money to get their votes, including one Republican, who he gave $500 million to, $400 million of which went to an extension of, you guessed it, the high-speed rail. With these votes, he passed the largest gas tax and car registration fee increase ever in California's history and didn't ask a single Californian. So the moment he passed that, I picked up the phone, I called my attorney, I said, write the repeal of the gas tax. And you better believe that's exactly what we did. You can clap, that's all right. Because you see, the bottom line is that Californians should be asked before your taxes are raised. Look, Jerry, if you want to raise Californian taxes, keep your promise and ask us first. Remember the temporary tax to fund education, Prop 30? Was that temporary? No. How much of that money went to fund education? Less than half, right? They lie, but at least he put it on the ballot and we got a chance to decide. This gas tax didn't even do you that favor. So I wrote the repeal of the gas tax, give every single Californian the ability to vote on whether or not you want to raise our taxes, to send a very clear message to the California Democrats that if you want to raise our taxes, you have to go through the people of California first. Now, you might have heard the Attorney General gave me a deceptive and misleading title and summary because he wanted to protect his $52 billion payday. By the way, this is Javier Becerra, the same guy I just called on to be indicted and arrested for criminal obstruction of justice. So Javier Becerra ties us up in court. I beat him in Superior Court. His title and summary is so misleading, the judge takes it out of his hands and rewrites it. Rewrites the whole thing so the people of California know that this is the repeal of the gas tax. He takes all of your unlimited tax dollars and goes to the Liberal Court of Appeals where they rubber stamp it and overturn it. I then take the case to the Supreme Court. Unfortunately, Jerry Brown has appointed 3 justices to the Supreme Court. They refuse to even hear the case. And you know what I said? I said, look, you know what? There's another measure. There's a competing measure. These guys have tied me up in court for 6 months. I was not allowed to get one signature because if I'd gotten one signature with every court case, it would have been invalidated every single time. So I called up my good friend John Kupal, the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, the group that gave me a 100% rating for never raising your taxes. And I said, John, I know you're part of this competing measure. I tell you what, this is bigger than me. This is bigger than anybody. This is about giving the people of California the ability to decide if they want to raise their taxes and to repeal this massive gas tax increase that will not go towards expanding our roads anywhere in the state of California. And John said, you know what, Travis, welcome aboard. And I am pleased to announce that there is only one effort to repeal the gas tax. You can find out about it at NoCA Gas Tax or any of the other websites. Join me. Who wants to repeal our gas tax? And send a message to Jerry Brown. So that's exactly what we're going to do. And this is the great thing about 2018, is our opposition in the race. It's not the other Republicans. It's not Antonio Villaraigosa. It is one guy, Gavin Newsom, the former mayor of San Francisco. $16 million in cash, according to his latest campaign filing. He is the next in line. He is the anointed successor to Jerry Brown. If you loved Jerry, you better wait. You're going to absolutely to die for Gavin Newsom. He will give you the sanctuary state. No. I say we reverse the sanctuary state. I'll do that in the first 100 days. He loves the gas tax. I say we're going to repeal the gas tax on November 2018. Gavin Newsom wants California to be a single-payer health care state. No. That means governor-run health care. No. Who here wants to go to the DMV to see your doctor? No. You know, if government-run health care works so great, how about we just have the VA run everything? No. Under Governor Travis Allen, you will all keep your doctor. We're not changing a thing. The bottom line, single-payer health care would bankrupt the state in the first 6 months. The bill is $400 billion every single year. Yeah, just about. So the bottom line is that everything that Gavin Newsom and the Democrats stand for, we stand against. And here's the beautiful part. Here's the silver lining. Everything that we believe, Californians are on our side. It doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat or decline to state. Every single issue, I have a simple 5-point plan, which I told you about a moment ago. Cut taxes. Get tough on crime and repeal AB 109, 57, and 47. By the way, put in place by Jerry Brown and Gavin Newsom. Fix our roads and expand our freeways. Make our education system once again the greatest in the nation and complete the State Water Project. Every single one of my 5 points in my 5-point plan is approved by Californians at 60 to 80%, regardless of political party, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of income level, regardless of where you live in the state. This is what California needs, a good dose of common sense. Do you agree? Yes. And don't forget, we will reverse the sanctuary state. Yes. We will repeal the gas tax, and we will never be a single-payer state. And oh yeah, we're going to secure our border. Ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Brown and the California Democrats have been lying to the people of California for years. But you don't got to take my word for it. Just look around. We have the worst in the nation poverty. We have homelessness that is skyrocketing out of control. 243,000 Californians have left the state on net over the last 7 years, taking $8 billion with them. But you don't got to look at the stats. Every single one of us, once again, raise your hand if you know somebody who's left the state, right? You just got to talk to your friends and neighbors. We know people are leaving. My parents left because they were going to build a house on the coast, too expensive in Carmel, so they did in the southern Oregon coast. My brother works for Raytheon. Those jobs used to be in California. They're now in Tucson, Arizona, so that's where he's at. My best friend took his company out to Texas, doubled the size of his business, and I already told you, doubled the size of his house and doesn't pay a dime of state income tax while he's there. This is the point. We can make California, once again, the greatest state in the nation. Look, guys, I can't go to Texas. There's no waves there unless there's a hurricane. So we better fix our own state. Who is with me? Who wants to take back our state? Now, everybody has something in front of them. It's a tiny little envelope. I want to see it. Raise it up. Who's got an envelope? Raise it up. I want to see. Shake them around. I want to see it. I want to see everybody with an envelope. Let's see it. Who here likes what I said? I can't hear you. Who here likes what I said? Who here loves what I said? Who here is going to join me to take back our state and make California once again the greatest state in the nation? I can't hear you. There is one way this happens, my friends. It is with your donations. Gavin Newsom has $16 million. The Democrats have an unlimited amount of money in California. We're going to release our numbers. I am the top fundraising Republican, not taking millions out of my own pocket, but getting money from people exactly like you, Californians around the state that believe that we truly can take back our state. And let me tell you something. In 2014, Jerry Brown was elected with 4.3 million votes. 4.3. In 2016, Donald Trump got 4.4 million votes in California. Literally, all we got to do is turn out the Trump voters, and we take the governor's seat in 2018. You will wake up in June. On June 6th, you're going to look down at your newspaper, and you're going to read in big, bold, black letters on the San Francisco Chronicle or whatever your paper is, and it's going to say, Travis Allen challenges Gavin Newsom to become the next governor of the state of California. And the byline is going to read, polling shows that they're within single digits or low double digits of each other. And you know what's going to happen? Overnight, this will become the hottest race in the nation. Because when nationwide Republicans realize that they actually have a chance, a shot, to take the governor's seat of California, this becomes the hottest race because you take the governor's seat in California and you take the country for a generation. Are you with me? Yeah. There is only one candidate in the race that can take that stage with Gavin Newsom, that can match him point for point. He is tall, he is attractive, he is articulate. He is wrong on every single issue for Californians. There is only one candidate that can beat him. He stands before you today. My name is Travis Allen, and I will be your next governor. Thank you so much. Now, with that, I know you've all come a long way. We all have. Thank you so very much. I have something for you. Every donation today, I got my campaign staffer back there. Ryan, why don't you raise your hand? And I also have my volunteers room. Where's my volunteer team? Everybody in my volunteer team, raise your hand. There we go. We got a few. There we go. Let's give them a hand. We have the largest volunteer army across the state of California, tens of thousands of people. More than Gavin Newsom, more than any of the Republicans in the race. We have the largest volunteer force. I have the largest social media presence of any Republican in the state of California. I have more engagement on social media than any politician, including Nancy Pelosi, including Gavin Newsom, including anybody in the state of California. We reach more Californians because we are telling the truth. This is the common sense message that takes California back, but I need your help. Ryan, why don't you hold up one of our beautiful t-shirts there in the back? I got a whole bunch of shirts back there. Every single donation today gets a t-shirt. Who here is with me? Who here is ready to donate and get your Travis Allen t-shirt? Raise up those envelopes. I want to see them. Raise them up. Raise them up. Any donation's fine. We take credit cards, all the other good stuff. As I'm going to take some questions here, please fill these out. I'll be in the back taking pictures, answering questions. And I got to tell you, look, I grew up in this state. This state is absolutely incredible, but it has been mismanaged for decades by the California Democrats. I got elected 6 years ago in 2012 for a simple reason. Because I believe that California wasn't only worth saving, but I believed it was possible to save our state. After 6 years in the California legislature, I now know that it cannot be done through the legislature. There is only one way to change the state, and that is through the governor's seat. That is why I am running, and I will tell you right now, we are going to win this race. I will win it with your support and the support of the 39 million Californians that are still here that believe that this truly is the greatest state in the nation. It's just been run by the wrong party for far too long. Donald Trump took back the United States of California. Yay. With your help, we will take back California. Thank you very much.
Yay! Thank you so much.
My name is Stephen Thayard. I'm a realtor from Gilroy, California, and yes, I know a lot of people moving out of the states because I sell their home. But the question I wanted to ask you is in regards to the Second Amendment. What will you be doing to reverse gun apocalypse that was forced down our throats so that now we have to register our so-called assault rifles and now have to register to buy ammunition in the state of California?
Thank you so much. There's a reason that I have an A rating for the Firearms Policy Coalition of California. There's a reason that I have an A rating for the National Rifle Association. The Second Amendment is not a privilege. It is a right of every single Californian. Let me tell you why. You have the right to defend yourself. You have the right to be safe, not only in your home, but anywhere you walk, on any street in California. This is your state, and your safety is always your right. I have voted against every single bad gun bill that the Democrats have put out. This ammo ban by Gavin Newsom, all of these crazy bills. I actually introduced legislation just about a week ago, of course it was killed by all the Democrats, that California will be a shall issue CCW state. Because listen guys, the bottom line is if my wife is at the grocery store late at night and she's in the parking lot loading the groceries into her car and she sees a couple people that look like they might be dangerous, that's somehow threatening her, why shouldn't she have the ability and the right to defend herself anywhere in the state of California? Because you know, you've all heard, unless you know a cop and that cop standing next to you, when a cop is minutes away, those seconds really count. Californians must have the ability to defend themselves wherever they are. And I will tell you right now that we will veto every piece of bad legislation because the bottom line is that Democrats don't believe in gun control. They believe in making you less safe. This is why they pass all those felony-friendly laws. When Jerry Brown and Gavin Newsom are so busy releasing felons from prison early, when they're making felonies misdemeanors, and then they have the audacity to want to take away our ability and our right to defend ourselves, Their objective is clear. This is why California's crime has increased. Violent crime since 2014 spiked by 15.4% since 2014. And at the same time, they want to make it less easy for us to defend ourselves. This is absolutely wrong. I stand 100% for your Second Amendment rights. And as the next governor of California, you better believe you will be safe anywhere in this state, on any street, on any city, at any time, day or night, my friend.
Yes, thank you.
Hi, I'm a retired social worker from Massachusetts. But anyways, and also awakened Democrat, become a Republican. When you
Hey,
said-
let's hear it for a Democrat becoming a Republican. Just like Ronald Reagan.
And so when you said you get support from the Republicans, do you mean you want support from the independents and those Democrats in California who don't know any better, but who actually want your leadership? So we hear that.
Absolutely. Look, we are going to pick up support from across California because the issues that we talk about, they don't stop at Republican or Democrat. There was a poll done in 2015, and 73% of Democrats were opposed to the illegal sanctuary state. Think about this. So many Democrats across the state are opposed to this gas tax that they never voted for. This is not about being Republican or Democrat or no party preference. This is about taking our state back and actually bringing balance back to our state. Right now, it is the worst for Republicans. It's been since the 1880s. Every single statewide office, the legislature supermajority in Senate and in Assembly, that's the worst it's been since the 1880s. That means that there is only one party at the table. In budget negotiations, they don't even talk to the Republicans because why would they? They don't need their votes for anything. I believe in balance. I believe the people of California need to hear both sides of the story. And as governor of the state of California, you better believe they're going to hear it all.
I actually don't have a question. I have a suggestion to give you on to get Democrats to turn towards you. Because I was a Republican, then went to being an independent.
Okay.
And I have turned a lot of Democrats around to vote Republican. And I'll tell you how I do it. Like you said, Democrats are brainwashed by a lot of the people that run the state. So how I turn it around, what I would like to see you do is really show the Democrats of what has really happened in this state.
Yes.
You know, you can't stand here and just talk about what our roads look like and whatever, because people have to visually see things. When I have my Democrat friends riding down the road, I go, look at this garbage, look at this filth, look at this, look at that. This is what your people that you keep voting for are doing to our
exactly
state.
Right. You're exactly
And
right.
I would really like to see you do a film and put it all over the state of California on TV to say, this is what the Democrats have done to
That's a
the
great
state.
idea. What do you say?
Because it's out there. The filth on our highways, the writing all over,
right.
and the garbage in the streets, and
By,
everything else.
by the way, who here ever gets stuck in traffic? Quick show of hands. Who here ever gets stuck in traffic? Next time you get stuck in traffic, thank a Democrat. They have had your money and the ability to fix our roads and expand our freeways for decades, but they have not. Every time you are stuck in traffic, it's because Jerry Brown and the California Democrats have not fixed our roads and they have not expanded our freeways, leaving us stuck in the worst in the nation traffic. If that upsets you, you got a chance to change it, and that's why we're going to win in November.
Okay, and also I wanted to compliment who I thought was David Clark that brought up the issue.
Love the look. Good for you.
Congratulations to David Clark back there. Also, I'm interested in the issues that you brought up about repealing the gas tax.
Please.
What would be the process? I'm interested in the gas tax repeal, and also what would be the process for repealing this ridiculous sanctuary state thing that Jerry Brown.
Absolutely. So
Would
there-
this be a ballot issue, or would this be a process where we would try to get it into the courts?
So very simple. The repeal of the gas tax is a ballot issue. The ballot issue is already there. Go to nocagastax.com, sign up, and we'll send you out the petition. Every single petition has space for 15 signatures. Within about a couple of days, we'll also have a link up there where you can download directly from your computer and print off your computer a one signature, so it's just for you. It's not up yet, but it will be here in a few days. So go to nocagastax.com, sign up, and we will send you your own. Now, that's how you repeal the gas tax. That's November of this year. The next question was, how do we reverse the sanctuary state? And I've already vowed in my first 100 days in office to reverse the sanctuary state. Now remember, the governor of California has a lot of power. The power to veto any bad laws, the power of line item veto so you can get rid of all these ridiculous expenditures in the California budget. The ability to appoint all of these unelected bureaucrats and change all of these statewide agencies that are passing all these crazy regulations. It's a big one. And one of the biggest ones is the power of special elections. So in the first 100 days in office, what I will do is two things. We're going to make sure California is challenging the illegal sanctuary state in federal Supreme Court because it is unconstitutional. The second is I will go up and down the state and gather the signatures and call a special election and put it before the people of California so they can vote out the illegal sanctuary state, because we'll never get it through that Democrat legislature. We'll take it directly to the people. And by the way, this is something that Arnold Schwarzenegger failed at. He went to the people once. You got to remember, as governor of the state of California, I will represent you for 4 years or even 8 years. That gives me every single election cycle and every single year to call new special elections. We will not stop fighting until we win. If they mortgage their buildings the first go around, guess what? They're going to have nothing when I come back in round two.
I've seen on the web that they are challenging you on the social issues. The latest one has been that you are a friend of Planned Parenthood. Please give us some ammunition to counteract that.
Okay, I think it's very simple. I don't think that your taxpayer dollars should be used at all to fund Planned Parenthood. Do you agree? Look, the bottom line is, how can you use taxpayer dollars for something that at least 50% or potentially more of the taxpayers are so vehemently against? You can't. It's your money. That is not a government agency. It's a private entity. So we must absolutely not spend another dollar on Planned Parenthood. By the way, this is why they give me a 0% rating on their scorecard in 2013 and 2015. Last year, I heard I got a 67%, and the reason was I voted for, there was a bill to make tampons tax-free. And I thought it was a silly law, but I've never voted against a tax increase. So I said, look, I'll make anything tax-free in California because California gets too much of your tax money. But no, my record is very clear on this. I don't think a dollar of your taxpayer money should be used whatsoever for Planned Parenthood. Bottom line.
Hi, okay, hold it close. All right, all right. So I'm a parent of a severely autistic child. We lost care when Obamacare kicked in. We lost our ABA services. 2 of our group homes in Santa Cruz closed just 2016. So obviously, Democrat and liberal party lines are not servicing the most vulnerable of our population here. We have a housing crisis that's coming up, I'm sure that you're aware of, for the vulnerable. There's really no place for them, and that scares me to death. So what are your views on how we turn this around, using the social money that we have right now, social program money, and maybe realigning it to actually the people who need it? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot tied into what you just said, but the bottom line is the Democrats are spending a ton of money on a ton of programs with absolutely no oversight and absolutely no accountability. This is where all of our money is going to, but the problems are still there and the money's not going to where it needs to go to. This is why California has to be run like a business. I am a business owner. I've owned my business since 2001. California must be run for the benefit of the taxpayers, and we need accountability with all of these programs. One of the biggest issues in mental health is actually the homeless population in California, right? 80% of the homeless in California either have mental health issues or substance issues or some combination of both. Now, think back to how this actually started. How it started is there used to be state facilities, institutions, right? If you couldn't take care of yourself and provide shelter for yourself, there was a place that you would go, right? Now, there was abuses in the system, which was a very big problem. Who here saw One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, right? I mean, there were some real abuses in the system. But the problem was, as opposed to fixing those abuses, what happened was the ACLU started suing everybody in sight, and they said you have to shut these institutions and turn these people back out to the communities. Now, there are some very good community programs for homelessness in California. There's some very good ones. The problem is there's not enough, and there's not enough funding, and there never was. So when they closed these state facilities, many of which, of course, were being run poorly and they needed to be fixed, that is for certain. But when they closed this, they turned those people out in the streets because the community services were underfunded year after year after year, and these people were left out under the bridges, onto our roads, onto our sidewalks, and we see them everywhere today. California has to get serious about this problem. We must have a place where these people can go and get the care that they need. It must be safe, it must be humane, it must be monitored. These are real Californians, these are real people, and they must be treated with the respect that they deserve. But the bottom line is they will not be turned out onto our streets, camping in our streets, committing crimes, getting stuck in the criminal justice system because they're not able to get the care that they need. But you know what it's going to take? It's going to take a governor with a solid vision, with the ability to say we actually have to take care of people and not just pay lip service and throw more money at the problem when all of the money that Gavin Newsom, Antonio Villaraigosa spent in their cities of Los Angeles and San Francisco have done absolutely nothing, because those homeless populations are now worse than they have ever been. It looks like third world countries on streets in their cities, and that's what they want to do to the state of California. I say it's time we clean it up.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Rosa, and I'm a first generation from Mexico. I was born in Mexico.
Welcome.
But I've been a U.S. citizen for about 20 years. I believe very strongly that most of my culture is very conservative socially, but they've been brainwashed by the media. They use money and other stuff to brainwash people. I have 20-something years of sales and marketing skills, and I'm fluent in Spanish reading and writing. How can somebody like me, with my skills, help you reach that demographic?
Absolutely. Let's hear it for citizens of the United States coming in through the front door. Look, there are so many wonderful people in our country, and we all know that we're very welcoming, but people need to come in the right way, right? They need to come in the front door. We have to be able to protect our borders, and we can't have this out-of-control illegal population. But directly to your point, ma'am, and what was your name, by the way, there in the back? Rosa. Mucho gusto. So, Rosa, I would love you to volunteer for my campaign. Please do. On that envelope that you have, if you could, on the back of your envelope, write down a little bit of your story, and I would love you to volunteer for my campaign, because this is what we need. Our message works for every single Californian. Yes. Look, thank you, I appreciate it. When I grew up, I remember an idea. It was a simple idea I learned in my public school, in elementary school. It was the melting pot, right? Yes. The United States is the melting pot. It doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter what you believe in. When you come here, you are now a U.S. and you are now a U.S. citizen. You are a U.S. citizen first and foremost, and we are all the same, and we will all be treated equally. Is that right? Yes. And this is the message that the Democrats get so wrong. You see, they want to play identity politics, and they want to divide people by what they look like or what they believe in, because they believe in dividing and conquer. I don't believe that our strength is in our diversity. I believe our strength is in our unity as American citizens. And you got to remember, everybody that's come to this country has come here for one reason. One reason. They want the American dream. They want to make their life better for themselves and for their children after them. We need to make sure that they have every opportunity to do so, which means they got to do everything right. Because this illegal immigration population that we have, it's not fair to California citizens. It's not fair to people who come here illegally. Think about this. People who come here illegally live in the shadows. They always have to look over their shoulder. If they want to work, they have to steal someone's ID to do it, right? And they are the victims of crime at much higher rates. It's a completely broken system, and it must be fixed. And it starts with California following federal immigration law. Yes! So remember, it doesn't matter where you came from. When you come in the front door and you become a United States citizen, you are first, foremost, and only a U.S. citizen. Welcome aboard. Every single idea we talked about today, from lowering your taxes to getting tough on crime and making your community safe, expanding our roads and fixing our freeways, making our schools once again the best in the nation, completing our state water project, protecting our borders and reversing the sanctuary state, making sure you get to keep your doctor and your Second Amendment rights. Every single Californian, 60 to 80%, believe that this is the way to fix California, and that's what I believe too.
Good morning. My name is Robert. I'm an Uber driver, so I know personally about the gasoline and the traffic. So I have a real quick question. I don't know whether or not you're aware of AB 1668.
Which one?
That is the one with mandatory water rationing that will be enforced by the state, maximum 55 gallons per household. Yeah, that includes washing your dishes, washing your clothes,
Can I
your
just ask you a
showers.
question?
Sure.
Was that a Republican or a Democrat that authored that one?
Democrats.
Yeah. Is
I've got
anybody surprised?
I've got some information. No,
Thank you.
it's
Please bring it. Yeah.
But if you could kind of give us an idea of what your
Simple.
thoughts are on the.
Very simple, Robert. California has more water than we can ever possibly use. But the Democrats won't build storage anywhere in the state of California. This we will change. I will fight the extreme environmentalists in every court battle for your right to save your water that comes down from heaven, and it's free for us. All we got to do is store it. We'll have more water than we can ever use, not just for now, but for all of our generations to come. We have the technological expertise. We have the money. We have the land. Let's store our water in California so you never have to worry about rationing, Robert. It's very simple.
Hi, good morning. My name is Julie. I'm the parent of a violent crime victim in our local community here. And what I wanted to ask you about is your familiarity with maybe in your area in Huntington Beach, Orange County, gang abatement programs, violent crime programs. Here in Santa Clara County, recently our violent crimes enforcement team was dismantled by the city government, which has resulted in a lot of problems. So just your familiarity about gang abatement programs.
Absolutely. Look, I've said it before and I'll say it again. California is the state of 3 strikes, right? 3 strikes and you're out. This law was so effective that for decades our crime dropped in California. It wasn't until Jerry Brown came along with Prop 57 and signed AB 109, and Gavin Newsom championed Prop 47, these soft on crime laws, these felony-friendly laws that take felonies down to misdemeanors. You can steal $950 or less, and it's only a slap on the wrist, even if it's somebody's car. Think about this. Thieves are now going through grocery stores and department stores with calculators because they know if they steal less than $950, basically nothing's going to happen to them, right? This is the problem in California. These Democrats want to make your communities less safe. Now, you take a look at it, getting rid of these gang abatement programs. That sounds like the worst idea possible to me. There is a CalGang database that has a list of all of the known gang members up and down the state of California. Now, I'm not saying the list is perfect. There's probably a couple errors on there. There's a lot of people probably aren't on there that deserve to be on there. But the Democrats want to shut that list down. They don't want to share that with the federal government because they don't want to keep you safe in your own communities. The bottom line is, I'm an economist. If you want less of something, you disincentivize it. If you want less crime, you make the penalty for crime so great that people think twice about it. You let people know that if you are sentenced to crime, you're going to serve your time in prison. Because the bottom line is, if you've committed the crime in California, you will serve the crime. Your felony will no longer turn into a misdemeanor. And this is exactly the message that we need to send. We are a nation of laws. We are a state of laws. If we turn a blind eye to all of this crime, we're only going to get more. This is why violent crime is up in something like 33 of our major cities in the last 3 years alone, and violent crime has increased by 15.4%. So I wish you all the best of luck in Santa Rosa with your gang abatement program. San Jose, yeah, and I wish the program was still there, but this is exactly what we need. But the message has to come from the top. The message that California would get under Gavin Newsom, which is why he will never be our governor, is that we need to be softer on all these petty criminals, right? Petty criminals. The problem is that there's a very simple correlation between someone who's willing to break the law at a misdemeanor level and someone who's willing to break the law at a felony level. And now with all these felonies being taken down to misdemeanors and all of these people getting out of jail early, cops are now saying, why am I even wasting my time arresting these people? Why am I writing the report when they're in and out of jail so fast that they're out before I've even finished my report?